Welcome boys. In this video we're going to be replacing the lower control arm on the front right of this 2020 Kia Optima. I've already removed the wheel and lifted the car off the ground. Make sure you use the jack point on the little pinch welds over there. You'll need the 21mm to remove the lugs. And the lower control arm, this is the replacement. It's a, don't know who makes it, some sort of made in China, Chinese control arm. But it looks like it'll fit. We have this giant bushing here, this guy right here, this ball joint right here. Hopefully this one's correct and has that the correct thing. So essentially what we're gonna have to do is, we got a nut here that we're going to have to hold on to while we go under here and extract this bolt. This would also be easier with the lift, of course. One of these days, I swear, I will get my shed built, my garage cleared out, so I can use the lift in my garage and make my life easier. The ball joint here, it is actually clamped in, so I'll have to remove this cotter pin, loosen that, force that little gap open so the ball joint will drop out. And then on this end, that's the bolt head right there. This is a 17mm on both sides. So I've already paint marked both of them, so I can put them back where they went. Well, I'm just going to impact it out. Okay. Should be able to get that bolt. Yep, right on out of there. Okay, that's easy. Okay, the one in there, see if you even need the light on. No, you don't. That's also a 17mm. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, boys. Yeah, I think this is a better idea. Well, I can't fit the tripod under here, but maybe I can. Alright, so I don't know if you're gonna, this thing can hold your weight. Not really. Alright, so I pulled this off, this plastical deal, the cover for the oil filter, and then I undid the Phillips right there. And I can lift this thing up enough to get to this. So I'm going to zip it out like that. So maybe you can see. There's no guarantee I'm going to tip over while I'm doing this. So, yeah. That probably bumped you. But it is what it is. I think that's coming. I might need the extension though. Next, we got, I don't know if I can get you in here either. Maybe from like here. Okay. So you should be able to see that. That's the 19 mil. So we're going to get that, I'm going to zip that down from underneath the car. And then hold it from the top, the 19 wrench. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we just move that out of the way. And I can pull this fucking control arm free. Well, almost. I just gotta wiggle this thing out of here. Bro. Why does this thing gotta do me like that? Get this fucking thing past any of this. Because of all this shit in the way. Fucking bullshit. Alright, that was a fucking shit show. Need to slide this bitch in here so that kind of lines up. Okay, there we go. So I'll go ahead and mention this now. You only want to essentially start the bushings. You do not want to go full send on a bushing until you have the weight of the car on the suspension. I can't get you in here. So I'm putting the washer back on. And then the nut over it. See how that's in there, sort of. You can even, I can even get you in there with all the stuff in the way now. All we have is it started. That's because there has to be a load on the suspension before you tighten your bushings. Ball joints, it doesn't matter, because they move. Next, we'll do this bottom part. Be able to kind of lift up and tuck in there, which is this bolt. Essentially just shoved a screwdriver through there to kind of line everything up so I can tap that through there. And then it's a 17. So I put the 17 on the electric ratchet. So the ball joint has this groove. And that's because when you put the bolt through there, the bolt essentially sits in that groove so that it can't move up or down. There we go. There we go. Right up in there. All right. There we go. Cotter pins on there. Alright, now in order to get the load on the suspension, we're going to jack this up until the car lifts off of this jack. When that's the case, the suspension is completely loaded. We can then torque the ball joint, or the bushings. You setting it back down on the ground at ride height. If you do not do this, what happens is your bushings are now tightened and torqued into position where there's no load on them. You then put the load of the car on them, and then all that happens is you wear them out prematurely. I use the impact on the one on here, since we have it paint markered. It should be pretty easy to put back where it belongs. We'll see. It just feels like it's getting really tight right around there. Alright, that's tight. Alright boys, that's it. That's how we replace lower control arm 2020 Kia Optima. Hope this helped. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, boys. Peace.